Hey guys, how's it going? Octopus here, welcome back to Union Cross. Last night was pretty good. We stayed up till the Demyx event came out. We played it on my main account, we played on my free-to-play account. We did a bunch of polls for Kyrie's, for Demyx. It was actually a lot of fun last night. I just want to say thank you guys for being there. There was over like 400 to 500 of you at once, which is just mind-blowing. So thank you guys for all the support, really do appreciate it. And hopefully I got to help some of you guys out on the Demyx event. For everyone else that's here, doesn't know what's going on, just wants a little bit help on the Demyx challenge. It's hard. It is no joke. It is pretty hard, but turtling is viable in this event. I did it last night. It worked out pretty good. Right down to the T though, almost. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what I did for my main account and my free-to-play account. And hopefully something can jog your mind here to pull some metals you didn't think you would use, or keyblades. But it is pretty straightforward. This event is very metal specific, because if you don't have metals that ignore counters or raise counters, you're pretty much done. So any tier 5 prime metal that came out recently, you have the prime Roxas from the reverse magic one that came out. You have Riku versus Roxas. You got a couple options. You also have the incredible metals that ignore metals, and if you do pull for Demyx, you have that too. So this is my free-to-play account that I'm currently on. I was at like 40 something thousand jewels. It's all gone. I ended up pulling myself a Kai and a Demyx. Now, this isn't necessary. It doesn't mean that you have to do what I'm doing. Demyx doesn't need to be pulled. I'm gonna show you guys that on my main account, how I passed it and turtled it on my main account. I didn't just go full blast pure power. It needed some kind of turtling in there. But for my free-to-play account, I made up to round 9 by taking away this Kyrie, put this Kyrie, and putting Kyrie EX. And I believe I had one of my best magic metals here. I think it was Key Art, or I had Genie here, one or the other. But this isn't good enough. This is not even close to good enough, because what ends up happening when I go into here, I'm going to get my ass kicked by him. So one of the main things that really helped during this fight was bringing a copy metal that could copy my friend metal. So bringing your, if you guys pull for the Phantom, if you guys have HD Shion, if you have Vanitas, any of the copy metals, or in the category imitation metals, you can copy for it and copy Ava or copy Riku, whichever one that is better. And the way to judge that is by their traits. Do they have extra attack? Do they have plus 1000s? Do you have negative 60 ground? Those are the best traits to look for. If they have extra attack and negative 60 ground, that's most likely going to help you the most. If it's got all of them put together, it's really going to help you. But this is the best one I had, and it turned out to be amazing. So the main key thing I did here on my free-to-play account was go all AoE damage, because my single target metals weren't too great. But my main account had a totally different setup. So what I'm going to show you guys really quick is we're going to jump in. Friend metal is very important. It's good to start off your Keyblade with single target, and then let your friend metal and your copycat metal do all the AoE damage. So I'm going to show you guys that if you do pull for Demyx, this is one of the best strategies to use, is have a really strong setup to go with. Basically, this is all going to go in right here. Damage from the Roxas. Like I said, the Roxas is really good because he does ignore those counters, or he adds to the counters. And then Demyx as the defense. I'm going to cancel out here. I do have extra attack on my free-to-play account, so I'm going to tap on one of the guys on the outside so I don't affect Demyx's 7 counter, because the blue counter, every time a metal does a hit, it reduces it, where the red counter, it's for every activation of a metal, regardless how many hits it does. So again, I'm just going to skip out on Woody here, just so I can show you guys the power of Ava as a friend metal. Being copied wipes everything out, and then you have yourself all the damage to the main one. So if you have metals that say do more damage when one enemy's left, Ava being copied or Riku being copied, Riku would be better because it is speed versus magic, is really going to help. What I want to show you guys is that you can survive the hits from this. So alright, so I switch around my Kyrie for the Illustrated Kyrie EX, because that's the one that has defense boost 4 max right now. I need to transfer it to the new Kyrie soon. I just gotta level up the max skill so it doesn't have a chance of not happening. So that's gonna come later on. But I added myself copy metal to copy Demyx, because Demyx himself, the enemy, actually starts with a general attack up. So you either bring in a metal that erases general attack, or you bring in a metal that can lower a lot of general attack, or you copy your Demyx. If your Demyx is 7-star, it's even better because he actually has good damage. If not, this is what you got to do. This is already turn 2. I just want to show you guys, if you lower his general attack down all the way down to at least -6, I believe. I don't think it has to be -7. But it has to be somewhere around there, maybe even -5, but I didn't really test that out, so I can't confirm that. So test well, which you guys can go all the way far, depending on how much HP traits you have as well. You can probably do a little bit less than me, but I want to show you guys the bubble will actually not kill us. So you have those extra turns. We have the time limit of 3 minutes. I'm gonna show you guys how I cleared it on my main account to show you how it was with the defensive and everything. But with defense boost 4 max, as you can see, you probably don't even need -7 there. Ava and Demyx put together is pretty much good enough. The problem is if you don't have extra attack on your Demyx, you need a way to copy it because he starts with so much, or you need a way to drop that as much as possible. Take away that general attack that he starts with, and you guys can survive that bubble without an issue. I tried with just Demyx alone, and he just does way too much damage. I put him at -1, and that wasn't enough. So you probably need like -4 or 5 or higher. Just move around, check out your HP traits. If you guys have plus 800 HP traits, it probably is a lot easier for you. But we're gonna switch to my main account. I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I did for the 13th quest and how I cleared it. Alright, so there's a couple of things I want to talk about before I jump into how I completed the quest. Things that can help you out, obviously, is that new VIP medal. If you guys grab Key Art 18, he does add 10 counters to the enemy, but this is the pay aspect of this kind of strategy. So enemy counters plus 10. Really good if you guys want to go that route, but there's also medals in the game that also do ignore enemies counters, raising enemies counters by +1, and that's a lot of the prime medals. It's a lot of the foretell medals, so on and so on. So that is there if you guys are someone who's buying VIP. You can use Key Art 18. So a couple more medals that you guys can use for this event. Obviously, Demyx himself ignores counters. You've got the Key Art 18 that raises counters by 10. The foretellers that also ignore counters. They add counters +2. You've got the Riku versus Roxas over here. If you guys pull for that, ignores enemies counters, does not affect them. Riku himself, who doesn't affect counters either. If you guys pulled for Axel, you guys can use him as well, because unaffected, countdown. So same thing. If you guys have any of the incredible medals, if you guys have Roxas and Shion over here, they do nothing to the enemy's counters. Same thing with Prime Roxas, like I was talking about in the starting. All these medals are going to be the best medals you guys can use. Especially everything I just talked about has very high damage. Some of them more difficult to make to proper damage. Some of them coming as 7 stars if you do mercy pulls, and some of them come exactly at the mercy pull for 7 star as well. There's a 6-star copy of this that you guys can copy if you want. It won't do as much damage as a 7-star, but it might give you guys that little bit of edge. And then of course you have older medals that do it. Lexius, if you have him 7 stars, Warrior of Light, Terra. You've got medals like Scrooge that add a lot of counters as well. If you guys got Scrooge, he does give the enemy counter +5. So don't forget about him in the back somewhere. And even the old Fairy Tale foreteller medals, they do not affect enemies counters. Not as strong, but all those options are there. And if you guys want to go really low, but not too bad of a multiplier, this is better than Prime Axel. Tune medals, all tune medals give enemy countdown +1. So this is very, very important. You need medals that raise the enemy's counter or ignores them, or you're going to have an issue, especially when it comes to quest 13. You might get away with it in quest 9 and backwards, but after quest 9, counters are very, very important. But that is pretty much all the counters you guys want to see. And don't forget, if you got that new nominate can make your random medals into AoE medals, or your single target medals into AoE medals as well. So that's a good strategy you guys might want to take into consideration. So with all that information out of the way, let's jump in how I completed quest 13, which is the Stroke of Midnight. Now my Stroke of Midnight is level 35, so it's got the glow, it's got the higher multipliers. I do have pretty decent sub slots, and also this is my main account, guys. The last time I bought VIP was Illustrated Invisible, and that has paid off ever since. I have not bought a VIP since then. He has been the best one, and it really helps when it comes to enemies counters, because I'm not using a setup here that has any prime medals. The only medals I have that raise counters is Shion and Mrs. Incredible, and she's a big key point into this strategy of how to beat this. So I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I did. One more thing, like I said before, Warrior of Light was over here. I had this Vanitas copying Warrior of Light, even though Warrior of Light's not sitting on a proper tray slot, or your medal that raises counters is not sitting on a proper tray slot. If you're using a copy medal before it that's on a proper tray slot, you're going to do enough damage while raising the enemy's counters. And even a tap or an activation from the medal that's not sitting on a proper Keyblade slot is still going to do damage. So let's jump in. Let me show you guys the full clear. I did end up using the Ava because I don't think anyone pulled for Riku, and I think that pretty much goes for everyone as well. But here we go. I'm gonna let this fully play out. I didn't use any prime medals for this. Prime medals are the way to go if you don't have this kind of strategy. I used my Nominee, which is a tier 5 copy medal. The strategy is pretty straightforward, which is the beginning medals on my Keyblade setup are there just for Demyx. I'm not worried about AoE damage. I'm worried about dealing as much damage as possible. Mrs. Incredible here is here for the defensive, so lowering the enemy's attack down to 7. And if we take a look at Demyx right now, look at his buffs and debuffs that he has off him. Mrs. Incredible lowered his strength down to 7 because she has overwrite, so she's very important because he starts with buffs. So Ava is going to wipe out the rest of the guys in the back there on the second turn, not just yet, which is totally fine because we have HP recovery from the pet, and then we have second chance. And as you guys can see, defense boost was going good until Demyx decided to do his desperation move there. Oh, by the way, I love the animations of him. Should have kept that on auto battle. The time limit's not going to be the same, but it's straightforward. So, same thing again. Don't worry about the enemies on the beginning. If you don't have beginning medals that are good AoE, focus on all your best single target medals with the least amount of hits. That's going to save you guys a lot of time trying to figure out a setup for AoE. Let your pet medal and let your friend medal do all the way AoE damage, because when it comes to it, they're all going to die by that. You have 3 to 4 turns to fully clear this. So, I have a second chance 1 on my Mrs. Incredible. That's going to be kind of hard to deal with. Here is Mrs. Incredible by herself, not being copied, obviously, because that doesn't help, with Ava. So that combination together will get you guys through this easily. And like I showed you before, if you can copy Demyx, it might help, but Demyx doesn't do enough damage at 6-star. At 7-star, he does pretty good damage. So, because Mrs. Incredible does have that overwrite, you don't have to worry about that general attack going down so much. You might have multiple medals that actually do this, but hopefully something here does help you out. It's really hard to help out this quest. It's either prime setup or medals that do single hits. You probably have to tap a couple medals, but you guys are going to see that I have to go full power here. I cannot like slack a turn. I can't tap. I can't swipe. It is all damage here. It has to be exactly 3 minutes, below 3 minutes. It can't be exactly. It has to be like 2 minutes, 59 seconds, and 0.99. But you guys can see here, I'm going to go into full power here. Again, I think this is the turn that I either wipe him out or I survive another hit. So I was like, oh no, second chance went off. I'm done. The timer's almost at 3 minutes. What am I going to do? So he survived 1900. I was about to exit it on the stream last night to try the quest again, but he did another bubble move, which means I can come here and do this. One last hit with my invisible, and that ended the quest. I had a faster time than that. I had 2 minutes and 38 seconds, but I took away auto battle. But that's how I beat it. I used my illustrated invisible. Hopefully that helps you guys out. I will be doing a free-to-play setup later on once I have the second chance on my free-to-play account. Once I have my Kairi Kai with defense boost 4 max, I'm going to go back into that and try the setup out to see if I can find out a free-to-play setup past quest 12. I think I might be able to hit quest 12, but it's going to take quite a bit of here and there. But the same strategy you guys are going to see across everywhere. People are going to be using Key Art 18 for gauge restore. People are going to be using prime medals. People are going to be using Riku's. There is pretty much nothing very special about this. It's straightforward medals that do a lot of damage and also raise the enemy's counters or ignores them. The best thing you guys want to look for is extra attack with those medals, -60s and +1000s. The more on the medals for +1000s is going to be really good once you have that -60 in there as well. So try to find your best medals for that. All the medals with -60. Even if the medal has a lower multiplier, that medal with -60 ground is probably going to do more damage because it's getting right through it, especially if it's in the early stages of the Keyblade. So hopefully something here helped you guys out. That's how I beat it on my main account. Free-to-play account, I'm going to try my hardest. Don't be discouraged if you can't complete all 13 quests. That is range for difficulty, for how long someone's been playing, how lucky they are, how much money they spent. It can't be easy for everyone. Not everyone's going to full clear it, but the jewels are all across the quest. So you might not get all 5,000 jewels, but if you complete up to quest 10, you're getting a big chunk of jewels. So don't be discouraged that you couldn't complete the whole thing, and don't go pulling like crazy unless you were already going to plan for that. Like my free-to-play account, I was planning to get Kairi Kai already, and when I saw Demyx, I don't have Mrs. Incredible, so I was like, I'm getting Demyx because I don't have a medal that lowers that much general attack, and that had value. I didn't pull it for this quest specifically, but it's going to help for this quest. Don't go chasing medals just to get a little bit of jewels. If you spend 15,000 plus jewels just to acquire 500 jewels because you're stuck on quest 13, the value's not really there unless you really needed that medal for everything else, which is usually the case, but just giving you guys a fair warning. If you guys want to help with the community, please leave your comments down below with your strategies, your keyblade setup, what levels your keyblade, and what sub slot count is on there. It's very important these days. A lot of people are like, oh, I did this with this keyblade, it was so easy, but then you look at their keyblade and their slot multiplier from sub slots makes it absolutely ridiculous that nobody else can touch it. So keep that in consideration when you guys put your setups down there. Say my sub slot multiplier is 0.5 or 1 point something, whatever you guys have. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit the like button, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Keep on smiling, and I'll see you in the next one.